Hello everyone, my name is Kwamia Ross, and today my message is called Exposing Theresa Williams, my daughter's current foster parent. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I have been exposed in the kingdom of darkness, and the Children and Family Services do not want to return my daughter. So I'm going to be exposing all the wicked things that's been going on, all the things that are hidden that will not reach court because there's no one to advocate for me and I cannot get my voice across. When I file motions, they go unheard and I'm told I have to go through my attorney. I have a public defender who does nothing to fight for me. So I am exposing this video. I'm putting this up here to expose what's going on with Theresa Williams and my daughter. Now, when my daughter first went to foster care, she was small. They said she was underweight. Oh, sorry. I have a doggy here who's making a lot of noise. Just a sec. Cash, please. Come here, hon. Come here. Cash. Come here. Come here, boy. Come here. 1 second, guys. Oh, come here, boy. Hey. Someone wants to say hi to you. But anyway, so I will begin here. Let me start over. So when my daughter first was placed into foster care, they said that she was underweight. That was the thing there. She was underweight because she was small. Now, I'm going to be posting some pictures here to prove that my daughter was always a very small child. She was not underweight. She was always small for her size. Again, I have a dog in here. I'm going to bring him. Oh, so he does not want me to make this video. Hold on, guys. All right, there. Little doggy is excited today, so excuse me for that. Now let's get back into this video. Now, they said she was underweight, so like I said, I'm going to be posting footage because my daughter was always small. Her family, her father's side is very small. I was actually small before all the demonic fat. We're athletic people, and now I have my older daughters, who I'm going to be posting pictures of them as well. They're still small. They've been small all their lives, and I have footage here. The fact that someone can tell me that my daughter was underweight, it's ridiculous. Now, when we first, when she was born, she went to the hospital. They said she was always on the small side, under the lower percentile, meaning she was small for her height. She was small for her weight, body-wise. Now, since my daughter has been in foster care with Theresa Williams, she's gained a significant amount of weight, which they will not talk about this. If you look at my daughter, they say she's at a healthy weight. The caseworker, Becky Sawyer, lies to the judge, the magistrate, when I complained about it. She says, oh, she's healthy. She looks healthy. I'm going to be posting photos here because my daughter is 17 years old. And she was actually weighing this much at 16. Since she was placed with, she's been with Theresa Williams for a little over a year now. She was placed with her back in May of 2020. So she started gaining a significant amount of weight. She's getting bigger and bigger every month. Every time I see her, she looks larger. My daughter has even complained to herself, why does she look this way? She always had a flat stomach. She has a huge protruding gut. Now, this is in no way to shame my daughter, but my daughter was not a big child. My children were not big. We're not big bone people. That was not naturally how we look. And anyone can see her, and for her height, she's only like, she's not even 5 feet. She's overweight. It's what you could look at as obese, now, which is very unhealthy. I'm looking at physical problems, health problems that she could have being, this heavy. Now, like I said, my daughter, she's gained a lot of weight. I used to ask her, it's like, because she was saying she gained a lot of weight. So what do you do? What do you eat? She just eat fast food all the time. She eats fast food every day, drinks sodas. Now, I'm not saying I don't ever give my kids fast food. But the thing is, when my children were living at home with me, they had home-cooked meals per majority of the time. I'll be posting photos and footage of meals that I cook. I was a vegetarian. So even though my kids were not vegetarians, I didn't force vegetarianism on them. Most of their foods, though, we didn't eat a lot of meat. There was not a significant amount of meat. They ate meat in moderation because they were not vegetarians. I believed in cooking my children a healthy home-cooked meal every night. We would go to the restaurant probably once every couple weeks, or on a weekend once a week, once every other week, or once a couple times a month. We were not eating out every single day. I did give them some snacks. Sometimes I allowed them to indulge in certain snacks because they like Doritos and chips like that, like any other child. But majority of the time, we had healthy snacks. My kids weren't even really drinking soda. I had flavored water. I would have sparkling water or flavored water that I would have the house that I was giving them because that's how I was eating. And so when my daughter got there, she started gaining all this weight. And they say, oh, she's fine, she's healthy. And this is not being exposed to the judges or magistrate. Well, the magistrate didn't care. Julie Wallace, even though she didn't see my daughter, they said she's at a healthy weight. Now, my daughter is overweight to the point where she's bigger than her adult sisters. And I'm going to post pictures of my children. All my girls are small. They're very small. And my daughter has been, speaking about her insecurities about why she's so big. She even said it herself. Just a year ago, she was very small. And if you look at these pictures, I'm going to be posting side-by-side pictures. There's no way someone can gain that much weight in just a matter of a year, less than a year. That she gained this weight in less than a year's time unless they have an unhealthy lifestyle. Now, my daughter is not participating in any type of athletics or activities, even though the foster parent has lied and said that they do things, she keeps them active. My daughter says the majority of the time I ask what she does, they'll go out to eat, or she'll sit at home watching TV. She had a hamster when her foster parent had bought her a hamster. She would play with her hamster majority of the time, but now the hamster has passed away, so she doesn't have that anymore. So I said, well, how do you pass your time? What do? Do you got activities? Do you have sports? Do you guys do anything? She says, no, she sits at home and she watches TV and she feels depressed, or she'll sleep. She eats and sleeps. Now, I'm looking at that to put two and two together. Any type of person who has any type of medical degree, like a doctor, because it's funny how they can tell our kids to eat healthy in school. And when Michelle Obama was the first lady, they were incorporating healthy eating in school and talking about the kids not being obese and weighing a certain amount of weight to be healthy and having an active lifestyle. But Children and Family Services can take our children out of the home and not implement this type of healthy lifestyle for them. They can allow them to have unhealthy eating patterns and allow them to be exposed to having fast food on a daily basis all the time. My daughter was eating fast foods all the time, and she has no activities. Now, before anyone can lie, when we had a meeting with one of my daughter's attorneys that came out to have a talk with me and my daughter, she says, well, what kind of activities are you doing? And my daughter said, she said, are you in any type of activities, any summer activities? It's summertime, and the kids need things to do. She says, no, she's not in any activities. So Children and Family Services is getting money for her, getting funding, and not only that, the foster parent is getting money for having her. And my daughter actually had she's disabled, so she gets a disability check, which Children and Family Services actually has signed over into to them. So they're getting money for her. Why isn't she in any type of programs throughout the summer? Why is she sitting at home sleeping all the time, just eating and gaining all this weight? Like I said, I don't just speak to be speaking things, I back it up with proof. And I am going to be showing the footage of how my daughter has looked throughout her time with me and my family, and how she looks now within just the 1 year she has gone with her current foster parent that she's with now. Not only am I, feeling like she should not be with her because she's being, disposed to unhealthy eating habits, but there's the fact that I don't feel like my daughter's being supervised right. Now, when my daughter left the home with me, she was 15 years old. She was about to turn 16 in a week. So she was almost 16 years old. She was not exposed to boys. She had one male friend who was a nice, kind gentleman. He was a young boy, and they had childlike mind. He had a disability, and we went on play dates. I took them on play dates. I asked his parent, could we meet up? And they went to Chuck E. Cheese together. They did child things. They did children things. My daughter was very innocent. She wasn't exposed to all that other stuff. She liked to watch television. She would you would find her watching SpongeBob or cartoons. That's what she did. She liked to look on YouTube, and she'll look at certain cartoons. She'll watch like Word Girl or Peppa Pig. She had a very childlike mind. She was very innocent. Even though she was almost 16 years old, she had that childlike state. Even when she went into foster care, she had it. Now, all of a sudden now, since she's been in foster care, she's talking about twerking. Her foster parent had put blonde and red weave in her hair long down to almost her waist. And my daughters, when they were that age, my older girls, they never wore that. I don't even wear blonde hair. I asked her before, I said, she looks older. And a lot of people said she looks older for her age, and she's been saying she's getting attracting the attention of boys now. Boys are starting to look at her. Now, I didn't want my daughter exposed to that kind of stuff. We raised her with certain values, and I had gotten into an altercation with the foster parent because I told her I didn't like that. And she got very highly offended, says, oh, your daughter, she doesn't look like this and that. And I wasn't, what I was saying as a mother, as a parent, I didn't want my daughter looking that type of way. She had asked me before, could she wear, false hair or no, could she dye her hair? I said, no. My daughter had a lot of hair. She had long, beautiful hair. She had no reason to wear weave. And I'll be posting pictures of that also. since she's been with Miss Williams, her hair's gotten very short. It's come out, actually. It's very short. It's very thin. You can tell it's not being taken care of properly. So now Miss Williams is trying to cover this up, I believe, by putting all this fake weave in her hair, which she never had to wear before. But like I said, it's of all types of colors. Now she says, oh, my daughter asked for this. So what? She asked for it. You're the foster parent. You're supposed to use discretion. I don't want my daughter looking like she's 22 years old or attracting the attention of other males. And so now with all the excess weight on her and the long weave in her hair, people are passing her for her early 20s. That's how she looks to them. And so what happened about, I would say about a little over a month ago, a couple months ago, back in either June, it was told to me, the caseworker Becky Sawyer called me and told me that my daughter had gone to one of the relatives' house, the foster parent, because she takes her to her relatives' houses. I used to let her go to Michigan with the family, and somehow she took my daughter to one of her relatives' houses, and it was told by my daughter, that they were left in the basement down there. She was down there with a little girl, I guess another girl, and the girl went upstairs, but the adults were nowhere around. And so the foster parent's nephew came downstairs. My daughter said he came downstairs with his pants down and holding his genitals inside his hand. So he came downstairs and approached himself with he kind of bore himself, his nakedness, to my daughter, and asked her to perform fellatio on him. He asked her to perform oral sex. This is coming from my daughter's mouth. So my daughter, who never had sex before, didn't know anything about sex, said she did it, and he pulled down her panties and they had sex. Now, I was told by Becky Sawyer and the supervisor, Rosalind Bailey, that, oh, they said it was consensual. So this is what bothers me. First of all, my daughter wasn't supervised. The foster parent said she left for like 15 minutes, whatever, or they were there for an hour, and it wasn't long. But it was long enough for them to have sexual intercourse and do all these sexual activities. And the thing is, my daughter, who is cognitively delayed, has special needs, is disabled, is in a home, left alone, a home that's not hers, in another strange environment at one of your relatives' homes, and she's left unsupervised down in the basement. And then one of her relatives gets to come downstairs and I don't know. He somehow coaxed my daughter into having sex. I don't know what was said or the exchange between them, but how can that be consensual? First of all, my daughter has cognitive delays and she's disabled. Now, she doesn't know anything about sex. I asked her, did the boy even use protection? Did he have a condom? She doesn't know. She doesn't know. She doesn't really know anything about sex. She doesn't know anything about any of this stuff. So I look at it like this. If a grown adult woman is some type of mentally impaired or impaired by alcohol to the point where she cannot make, wise, credible decisions and use discretion, and if a man has sex with her, whether she allowed it to happen or not, it can be called, it could be said that there was no consent given, because the woman was she was impaired to the point where she could not make rational decisions. So I don't have anything against the child or the boy who she had sex with. My thing is the adults. There was no adult supervision, and then you cover it up and try to justify it by saying it was consensual. How can a disabled girl who knows nothing about sex give consent to having sex? And why is she exposed to this in the first place? While my daughter was there, I was told that she was watching porn with another foster child. There was a lot of things that were going on that didn't happen when my kids were with me. So she's been exposed to all these things. She's been talking about twerking and shaking her behind. I don't really know what's going on. But like I said, I had my children raised up in a Christian environment, teaching them certain values, that we didn't deal with any of that stuff. And even though my daughter was almost 16 years old, she was still playing with dolls. She had stuffed animals that she'd play with, and she was watching cartoons. So now, since being with Miss Williams and being in foster care, she's been, within just a year's period, she's had sex, lost her virginity. She's wearing long blonde and red blue weave all in her hair. Her hair is completely gone. Her hair has come out. She's gained probably 30 or 40 pounds. She's obese. So it's like, how can you say that is taking care of a child right? To me, that's neglect. If you have a child and you're not washing them right, you're not doing any type of activities or any type of constructive work with them, you're not feeding them healthy meals, you're allowing them to become obese, and you have them just sitting around the house doing nothing but eating and sleeping, that's neglect. And so the reason why I'm saying this is because Children and Family Services takes children out of the homes, and they expose them and put them in these environments and have them exposed to all types of things, neglect, abuse, and other things, but they cover it up. But if it's the parent, you want to come in the house and accuse parents who did not, I did not neglect my children. My child was at a healthy weight when she was with me. And so when I talked to Becky finally, after she kept on telling me, oh, your daughter's underweight, she told everyone this. She went and told my therapist, Michelle Tarsis, that my daughter was underweight. And they say, oh, they want to make sure the kids are safe. I said, well, you know what? My daughter was never underweight. She was always small. But let's talk about why she's obese. So no one ever wants to talk about that, though. It's okay to have a child 40 or 30 or 40 pounds overweight for their size, but you want to say she's underweight. My child was always small. She was small. And if anything, my daughter was having problems because of the constant seizures that she was getting due to the attacks, the spiritual attacks from the organization that kept coming up against us. They were making her ill. If she lost any type of weight, she was vomiting. I made a video on YouTube where my daughter kept throwing up. We were taking her back and forth to the hospital until I finally, nothing would happen. Nothing would happen to stop the vomiting. Until I posted a video on YouTube exposing the Satanists who were attacking my daughter. I said the covenant's coming up against us. They've been attacking her, and mysteriously my daughter stopped vomiting. They were making her ill. I even wrote, if you want to go back and look at a video about Mayfield High School District, my daughter first had stomach issues and stomach problems. She was vomiting then. It's the same thing. They were causing my children to get sick. But my daughter was always small. If she was a little bit smaller than she normally was, that was because of the constant illnesses that she was having. But everything was pushed off on me. Everything was blamed on me as a bad mother who didn't take care of her kids, even though I made sure my kids always ate. They had a home-cooked meal every night. You can ask my children themselves. They had a home-cooked meal. The refrigerator was always full. We go to grocery stores. We go to Costco. I had a membership there, and we would fill the pantry up with foods and snacks for them to eat, healthy snacks. They didn't eat a lot of fast food and junk that makes them fat. Ever since they've been in foster care, they've been able to do whatever they want. So I'm putting this here because they are now asking for an extension where they want to keep my daughter for 6 more months when I feel my daughter does not need to be there. Theresa Williams did not take care of my daughter right. She has covered it up. Her and Becky Sawyer, Rosalind Bailey, the therapist Elena Phillips, all these people have covered up the underhanded things they have done by taking my daughter out of this house and everything they've done, and have her exposed to these situations. I'm putting these pictures up, and I'm going to show you. You can look side by side of how my daughter looked before she went with Children and Family Services and how she looks now, and you can see that she is not being taken care of properly. Thank you. About 6 or 7 months after my children were placed in foster care, I started being able to have visitation with them in person. So I was visiting with my daughter, and in the beginning, we were allowed community visits where we could take them places and transportation. We'll pick my daughter up, and I would set a location where I wanted to take my kids, well, I wanted to take my daughter, and transportation would have her there, and the caseworker would meet us there, and we would have these visits. So I'm going to insert footage where I actually took my daughter. We went to fun and stuff, and she was there with her older sister and my mom. We all saw her, and this was like one of the first times I actually started noticing that the weight was really piling up on her. As you can see, her belly was kind of protruding, and you know. She had a cut off shirt that was just exposed and everything. I noticed then that she was getting heavier and she was a lot bigger than, her older sister. So I'm going to go ahead and insert that footage here right now. What's that score? And as the months progressed, my daughter just kept gaining more and more weight. She started actually noticing it herself. And when she would bring up insecurities and she would speak out to me about how she felt that she was getting fat and she would complain about it, I would try to make her feel good and say, what are you eating? You're not big or not fat. I wanted to try and make her feel better about the situation, but she was noticing herself that there was a huge contrast to the way she's always been her entire life, very small and slim and petite, to how she looks, currently, how she was, even feeling, and she knew herself that she was big and she felt insecure about it. She kept telling me how she was fat and how she looked, that she wasn't small or anything anymore. And it wasn't anything that I was saying to her. I just tried to make her feel better as a parent, but I knew myself that she was getting big and I would ask her what she's eating and it would be the same thing, fast foods and, not doing anything, sitting at home all day, watching TV or sleeping. The first photo was when my daughter had first got to Miss Williams' home about a year ago in around May. That was taken then when they said she was underweight. The second photo was her currently about a couple weeks ago. Now, I want you to look at those pictures and tell me, or you make the determination, which one looks healthy and which one doesn't. She was a 16-year-old girl, looked petite and small. She was small, framed, always small. That's her natural body shape. The second one, she looks overweight.